Even with Lockheed Martin's layered laser defense system, how many seconds do you think it would take Russia to blow up the International Space Station? This is a fictional scenario. It is not to be believed or taken seriously. It is not meant to frighten anyone. This is a fictional scenario. It is not to be believed or taken seriously. The U.S. military has a strategic plan to finally defeat Russia, but it won't work. We are the collateral. One way or another, this is the end of Russia and the USA. The U.S. military has been modifying a long-range strategic plan to defeat Russia for over 100 years. Quantitative data, and that means every singular quantifiable piece of data, and vacuuming it out of Russia is half of the strategic plan. It is fed into the current CIA computational AI centers and fused into top-secret Pentagon strap reports. The reports are the result of the bulk collection of Russian literature, magazine articles, books, newspapers, journals, seasonal weather changes, crop yields, banking statements, school, hospital, consumptive food, alcohol, wires, and each and every report and singular piece of data on Russian military, industry, space, and peace programs. With the data, the Pentagon created a model looking for a Russian window of vulnerability when the U.S. would finally, once and for all, strike and defeat the capacity for Russia to ever wage war against the U.S. or pair with China to do same. The quantitative data is excellent, but was fused with a current human intelligence team the likes of William Burns, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Victoria Nuland types, Clapper, John Brennan, Gina Haspels, the Jackass Humanit team. The Jackass Humanit team, ego-driven, supplies the USA qualitative input and has determined the time is now, attack Russia militarily. The qualitative group has no relation to the U.S. intel, OSS, Humanit, and military of World War II. The secret strategy welcomed Russian oligarchs to buy property in NATO countries and bring in their own industry giants, Gazprom, Lukoil. Even RT got a broadcast license in the U.S. They became major shareholders in companies inside the NATO alliance. The strategy fostered a perception inside Russia that the U.S. had realized ultimately war with Russia would lead to mutual destruction. To seal that perception, the Pentagon shared its crown jewel with Russia, the International Space Station. Russian military moved into the ISS, sharing living quarters inside, ran Soyuz support missions, bought uranium mining companies inside the U.S., and even basketball arenas in Brooklyn. It all snapped. The likes of Brennan, Milley, Robert Gates, Joint Chiefs of Staff, CIA, NSA concluded after endless data presentations, mutual ego-stroking, wine, dinners, and whiskey, they would take the bold initiative and start the war, phased incrementally, to defuse and eliminate Russia's capacity to wage war, and that nothing would stand in their way. They, married to their egos and psychotic insight, believe it is the most critical mission since World War II, and they would save the United States. An unexpected problem. Donald Trump became president, and with Trump came the possibility he would not implement the jackass human dream. The team effortlessly justified violating the Constitution, mandated lockdowns as the first phase of martial law to break spirit and make resistance all but futile as the final war with Russia intensifies. A slurry of vocal but ultimately tepid talk and podcast hosts entertained, joked, and got high, functioning as a magnet for the liberty and peace movement. A drug guru was passed off as an MMA expert and handed a podcast contract to coddle the addicted with psychotic insights but provide no actionable intelligence for meaningful social organization to resist the tyranny. a PSYOP unit inside a social media platform, inflated audience subscribers, and pushed a video influencer whose non-stop delivery of eye candy videos reinforced notions of teenage vacuity over awareness to the winds of war. No mention would be made of the courageous American teenagers who fought and died in the Revolutionary and Civil Wars. The older Liberty remnant was left to follow a cavalcade of podcasters made up of former CEOs, military generals, imprisoned activists, and talking heads. The group provided mostly accurate assessments of government overreach, election fraud, and intel agency manipulation and surveillance of the groups themselves. The groups paraded on an ever-changing platform of social media shows, each promising that victory was at hand and would be won and fought through more paid podcast subscriptions and Liberty Tour ticket sales. The American Liberty remnant and resistance became tangled in their own anchor. Intel agency PSYOPs degraded meaningful online chats within groups with AI bots and diffused rallies in the field with embedded agents. The jackass Humanit team justified using the Pentagon to direct the NSA, FBI, and CISA to steal the 2020 election from Trump and install Biden on national security grounds using the War Measures Act. The Six Eyes Alliance shares unminimized information, raw signals intelligence on U.S. political figures, judges, figures across the spectrum, private industry, and children with foreign governments. The team ordered the NSA to expand agreements with 7 more countries. The Ukraine proxy war phase, Javelin missiles, DARPA drones, blow up Nord Stream, and dead Ukrainians and Russians. Retaliation, U.S. Homeland Supply Chain, EMPs, Fusion Center Detainment, Misery, Anguish, and Death. The U.S. and Russia are at war. Almost nobody understands this. The jackass Humanit team knows this, and they know you are sleeping, and they know when you are awake. They know this because your pattern of life can be inferred by looking at records of your phone's basic internet activity, called metadata, and your online residue. This is the core of modern mass surveillance. When those who want peace are stronger than those who want war, there will be peace. But those who want peace are stronger than those who want war. So the weak infiltrated the U.S. intel agencies and violated the Constitution to harm the strong and have you live in a fictitious world. In a world worth living, the United States stops its policy of unending wars and instead sets an example that people around the world would emulate. In that scenario, a United States worth emulating, regime changes would take place without U.S. foreign intervention, and the world would become a really neat place to live.